about to turn it up. Turn it. We about to turn it up.
Hello, buddy. We are back with EGL. This is going to be one of my favorite matchups. Obviously, I am Colonel. Beside me is Packapal. Monkey Rising. Finally, we get to stream them, but we're already in picks and bans. Wow, it's going really quick. And Hyperion first picking Jinx. Packapal, talk me through it.
Well, I know that Jinx All Series is going to be a very pinched pick. I think we're going to see it go B1 or banned in every single game this series. And if I were to guess with some insider information, I could see Monkeys Rising responding with maybe a Sivir here, maybe a Senna, depending on how they're feeling personally in there. Nonetheless, though, I'm really excited for this matchup tonight because Hyperion and Origin are a really good team, and they lock in Callista. I guess I know nothing.
So much for that insider information. But we'll see who they decide to pair Callista with. Callista, I expect to be in the bot lane. Yep, and that's going to be Thresh for Shadow Stealer and Iyoked with the Callista Thresh bot lane.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think that if Callista is Ioke's preference, Callista is Ioke's preference. Zell is very, very comfortable on that Thresh, taking away that cover pick. I think he's played it most of the games this season, besides 2. He's played a game of Braum, a game of Blitzcrank, and 4 games of Thresh. So Thresh and Zell are synonymous as the Leona's locked in for Hyperion Origin, a strong engaging tool for them, Colonel. And both drafts rounding out pretty well in the start of round 1.
Yeah, as we take a look at what they lock in third, it will be the Heck Room. It'll be interesting to see what Monkey Rising decides to respond here. They could lock in a jungler now that they see the jungle matchup, or they could be setting themselves up for the second round with one of their solo laners here. What are you expecting?
I'm expecting potentially a solo lane pick here, though with BTS Jungkook in the jungle tonight for Little Monkeys as an E-sub, we could see maybe his comfort taken here. He is new to the team. He's trying to get ingrained as fast as possible. Wukong being locked in. Now, Colonel, very interesting point about the Hecarim. Hecarim just got buffed on patch 11.11 with his AD ratios, and if anybody remembers when Riot quite literally killed a horse and kicked a dead horse until it was gone, Hecarim has been very bad for a couple patches now. But luckily, I think that Hecarim may be making a resurgence, so nonetheless, I think it's a pretty strong pick from Hyperion Origin, as we see Lux banned away from Monkeys Rising and Kale as the response.
Another important thing to note here is that the Wukong can be flexible. I'm not too sure how Jungkook is on the Wukong, but it can be played very, very strongly in the jungle as well as the top lane. So we'll see where Monkeys Rising decides to put it, but there is always that possibility of a flex.
There absolutely is that possibility. Now, I don't know who it's going to go to. I believe that both players are capable, so I feel that probably going to see a mid lane pick here from Monkeys Rising on R4. But with that said, I'm not sure what it's going to be. Corki is up. It's a very strong option for Chinese Spy, as he's been putting a lot of time on the champion. I think that that could be the angle here, but nonetheless, both drops are very interesting so far, with Hyperion Origin going for what it seems like an early season 11 comp. With, I guess, the new buffs coming in, it's starting to come back into the meta, and maybe they're looking for some of that comfort, as the Corki is locked in for Monkeys Rising. Chinese Spy back on that pick. Very safe, very reliable, has the package, has the scaling. Colonel, what are your thoughts?
It's just like you said, it's a very safe blind, as well as it being very comfortable for Chinese Spy. It just has so many tools, and it can be such a power point, especially if the team is properly playing around that package cooldown and whenever you have that passive to be looking for a fight. And actually, similarly, with that Narbar, Hyperion will be trying to look for fights and syncing it up when they have that Nar ultimate. So decently similar drafts. Hyperion, obviously, looking like they really want the 5v5. We'll see if Monkey Rising does go somewhere else, because they do have that option of a split. But Hyperion Origin could be locking in the Annie here in the mid lane. What do you think of that?
I think that's a very good answer into Corki in the funnel. In solo queue, Annie performs incredibly well into Corki, as she's able to apply the pressure with the point and click stun and outrange Corki and bully him out of lane a little bit. Nonetheless, I think that the Gnar also is a very strong pick, because it provides them team fight. This is very, very stock standard from Origin. I think it's a very solid draft in terms of its theory, and very strong, as Malphite is locked in last, trying to give Monkeys Rising some engage on the tail end of their draft. It's also a pretty good answer into Gnar. And Colonel, at the end of both drafts, I think both of these drafts are super strong. I think they both have really sound theory. I think both of these picks were locked in with the right ideas in mind. The only question I have is, will Ayok be able to perform on the Callista here in game one, or will Lo-Fi Foot Fetish's Jinx be able to outshine, as he is very proficient on that champion?
Yeah, and important to remember, they did have that flex opportunity, and it looks like the Wukong will be in the jungle. So a lot of faith in the E sub, considering very limited time playing with the roster. But just like you said, I think both drafts look very clean. I think a lot will be told in the early game to see how this Callista can get off her feet and if she can. Although both teams look pretty strong in the late game as well. You have a big front line in either the Hecarim or the Malphite, with some strong late game carries in the Corki or the Drink. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think both these drafts are really, really strong.
But, Colonel, with
Yeah.
both drafts being strong, are you going to depend on the scaling side of Hyperion Origin or Monkeys Rising? A little more early game committed Callista Wukong. What angle do you see this game one going? Do you see it going towards this Jinx popping off, or is it Monkeys Rising taking over the early game?
So last time we were on the desk together, I had no faith in the spice, and it ended up biting me in my prediction. So I think this time I'm going to go with the spice. I'm going to give it to Monkey Rising. I think that the Callista might be just enough spice that it doesn't bite them back. But I think overall both drafts are good, but I got to go with Monkey's Rising here.
And I think that for what seems to be the millionth time, I think I might be on the other side of the coin here. I think that there's a lot of comfort in the Hecarim, a lot of comfort in the Leona. Like, these champions have been played for so many patches by these players, and though Monkeys Rising's comp might be a little stronger if you look at just this patch, I feel that execution is always a concern when you pick champions that are a little more complicated, and Even though Hecarim isn't as strong as he used to be, I feel like the cover on the champion may prevail, giving Hyperion that bridge they need to get to the late game and take game 1. So game 1, in my eyes, goes to Hyperion Origin post-draft.
That's absolutely fair. There's a lot to be seen. We'll have to see as we load up into game 1. Stay tuned as we take a short break. Don't touch that browser. Buddy, and welcome to EGL Week 3. Monkeys Rising going up against Hyperion. This is going to be a great matchup, and we do have a level 1. Paka, this is going to be a good one. Oh, the hook does not land. That sentence won't find its mark. But still, Monkeys Rising could go in. It looks like they'll get a ward and nothing else for the attempt.
And again, it's kind of crazy how this team of all teams would go for level 1s here, Colonel. I always look forward to them. I think they provide so much value. And even though it's just the ward at the end of the day, I think that it's something. And I think that teams should consistently try to look for these when they see fit. With that said, I think that this early game is going to be super interesting, Colonel, as we see what this Hecarim can do in the matchup. We don't know how a lot of his matchups go now that the changes have come through onto him. He's a much different champion than earlier in the season. And with Wukong being one of the newer junglers to break into the meta, I just don't know how this matchup's going to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It looks like both will start on the bot side, but importantly, Hecarim won't be starting with a leash, while the Wukong on the other side will be. So we'll see how that affects their clear speed as they both path up to the top side in that top scuttle crab.
Well, what's very interesting about this, Colonel, is I think that Hecarim's going to be very, very late to topside as he has to start Raptors instead of red. So now he has to path down towards the red buff, then back up. It's a lot of wasted time in pathing. It is a little slower. I think we're going to see Wukong reach the other side of the map much, much faster because of the leashless, but I wonder what Attila and Lo-Fi are going to get out of this on the Jinx Leona because of the leashless play. It doesn't look like anything yet, but there's a lot of time still to come, as I think they're going to hit level 2 first, which they do.
Yep, with both these supports, Thresh and Leona, as well as Lo-Fi and Zell, they're very, very aggressive players. So anytime that they can give themselves an advantage, they will. So with both these champs having so much agency to really do whatever they want, to go for whatever they see fit, I think I appreciate the decision to try and give this bot lane an advantage when, as soon as Thresh gets online, as soon as he starts landing these hooks, he's going to start dealing a lot of damage.
He absolutely is, and he looks for one there, finds the cannon instead, Colonel. But honestly, with...
Ooh, that's a lot of damage in the top side. No summoners are going to be burned, but he's down to his last corrupting pot, but just in time for Jungkook to arrive. First boat actually coming in the mid lane, and he's going to get one. It's a successful gank from the other side, but on this side, Jungkook will get the kill, helping out that Malphite. We will take a look at that mid lane play, and it looks like a beautiful stun setup for the Hecarim. The Ignite was there, and both summoners burned for Dracana, but killing Chinese Spy with his flash as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's going to lead to... I think that's going to be the story of the game as Annie and Hecarim try to shut down this Quirky early, his weakest point in the game. And though Quirky is a very safe champion with all the setup that Annie has for the Hecarim when she gets that stun, is going to be a very, very strong point for this Hyperion side. But Wukong getting a kill back in the top side, looking to potentially get a bot side scuttled, though he could be in trouble here as Hecarim is setting up to wrap around again.
Oh, this is a brutal counter gank. The stun straight into the charge, just like last time. Chinese Spy is going to try and E, but he does not make it over the wall. That is another kill. 1-0-1 for this Annie, and another death for Chinese Spy.
And again, Colonel, that pressure is going to be here all game. It's what the Hecarim can do. It's what the Hecarim will do with all of that extra pressure. And it's unfortunate to see Quirky very, very far behind early, though I feel that he's a scaling champion. If there are no more deaths for maybe the next 10 minutes, this champion can stay in the game. But right now, if Annie can put her foot on the gas a little and get a couple more kills, it's looking really rough for Chinese Spy.
Absolutely, and he does have that tier stacking, but as soon as Annie's able to back, if we could take a look at the gold real quick, she should have a monstrous amount in her pocket. She has 1,500, already 4 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. She's going to have a disgusting buy when she comes back, and then Chinese Spy will really start to feel the pain.
And something else to note actually this week is Zell on an alternate account for tonight. Unfortunately, someone decided to be a bit of a dishonest member of our League of Legends Society. So for those who don't know, Baki is Zell from Monkeys Rising tonight. So if you hear Zell, that is who the casters are talking about. With that said, though, nonetheless, it looks like this Callisto lane is getting the push in, which is what they should be doing. No kills in the bot side yet, not a ton of action yet, but I'm expecting to see this lane explode throughout the early game, Colonel.
Absolutely. With that pushing in on the bot side, Yoked and Zell are able to look for this Drake. Hecarim is on the bot side, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to help, and they do not need Quirky as he was able to get it back off. So that is going to be a very early first Drake for the side of Monkeys Rising.
And I mean, it's what you have to do with an aggressive bot lane, Colonel. If you pick a bot lane that has priority in the early stages of the game, you have to be able to get neutrals off it if you can't generate. But Colonel,
Nara looking in with the ultimate. He's going to try and get a lot, but that's the counter engage going in from basing the second. And he's not able to get anything else, but that's going to be looking forward even more. Both still have their flash available, but looks like the action will diffuse, although this is a big wave to crash, and Malphite is going to have to struggle to get any of these minions.
It's trouble for Malphite because even though he doesn't die and Nara's low as well, the mini wave is so big, but it looks like Dracana had some action mid lane too, Colonel, with that first Tibbers.
Yep, Chinese Spy barely getting out alive, but fortunately enough for him, he is able to. Jungkook is able to collect the wave as well, so altogether not that bad, but very, very close to Dracana pulling ahead in this mid lane.
It is, and Dracana already has such a tempo advantage over this Corki with the back timers, not having to... forcing Corki to use an early TP just to punish him again, and honestly, the fact that Corki doesn't get a kill there, doesn't die there is very lucky for him, but Jungkook back on the top lane.
This is a great gank timing right after the Mega Gnar was gone, and he's going to be looking forward with the dash. Great jump, though. Will get Gnar to safety, and he will not need to burn his flash, importantly. So he's able to save that summoner spell.
He is able to save that summoner spell, and that is the problem with Wukong pre-6, Colonel. The Wukong has a ton of CC and is a great skirmisher when he starts to get to later levels around objectives, and that's why he's so valuable in the jungle role, having someone who scales into the late game and has that team fighting presence, which is a lot of junglers' sore spots when you start to draft something like a Lee Sin, like a Xin Zhao. Getting to have this Wukong is very strong, but when it comes to pre-6 ganks, he doesn't really have a way to stop the Gnar from just prancing away, so... Well played by the Rune Mage nonetheless, and again, Hyperion looking very strong early here with a 1,500 gold lead, Colonel.
Yeah, and a lot of that coming off of both the mid and the top. But hold that thought, right in the mid lane, Chinese Spy going to be looked in as finally forcing the flash out. Zuko's Honor barely getting out alive. He's going to find himself so low, less than 100 HP to his name. But he will get the summoner and get out.
And I mean, there's a bit of a tent set up here from the side of Hyperion as Baki has to walk away. But it looks like looking for Zuko's Honor and Dracana, maybe Dracana gave him a little bit of a PayPal in the middle of game one. He said, hey, I want to look good on stream. And I'm just kidding, of course. Again, the pressure back in the mid lane from this Hecarim, I think that, again, this is where they have to look all early game. And Spy surviving again with his flash, but now if Zuko comes back and there's no flash for Spy, it could be trouble for the side of Monkeys Rising, as this Corki going 0-3 is very, very devastating so early on.
Absolutely. But important to note, Basing the second does have priority in the top side, so Jungkook was able to get the Rift, which is usually the standard trade when one team gets the Drake. So able to get both the Drake and the Rift for his team. So overall, so far so good for the E-sub for Monkeys Rising.
Yeah, and I think Jungkook has had a pretty strong game so far. Down a little farm, the Wukong does farm a little slower than the Hecarim. Been able to find things that look pretty good. Spy did opt into the early package. I don't think that he'll be able to find much off of it. But nonetheless, I think that this Wukong has looked very...
using ultimate into the wall. Should be able to get a find. There is no jungles there, so there's nothing left to go on the top side.
And honestly, I think that this is a very interesting game because there is a lot of action happening early and a lot of fighting happening early, but that's not really what these teams are necessarily looking to play for. I think that it's exciting that both of these teams have been able to create like an early game pressure point in what I would consider two scaling comps. Both of these teams like to team fight well. The Gnar, the Jinx, Leona has good team fight pressure. The Hecarim is an earlier game champion, though still nonetheless that Onslaught of Shadows is such a devastating team fight tool. And it's the same case for Monkeys Rising with the package, with the Wukong ultimate, with the Malphite ultimate. I think that both of these teams are looking to team fight, but it's not that they're not trying to make plays, even though they both have scaling comps. And I like that from both teams. I like to see this tempered aggression.
Yeah, so far so good. There are 15 seconds left until the Drake spawns, and this might be Hyperion Origin's first chance at getting a neutral objective. They do have the river so warded. It's crazy the kind of vision that they have up here. They do have all four of the bot side members here. Jungkook has arrived, but it looks like it might be too little too late. Corki is making his way over. We'll see if they decide to contest this. This will be a very, very difficult one to contest.
It will be as Dracana.
That is the bear. A good amount of damage onto Thresh. He's going down solo. The bear's actually going to kill him off. And now they're going to be looking for the fight on the other side. Kalissa's going to get the Rand onto one. Chinese Spy, can you get out alive? Zuko's Honors will save the ultimate. Use it over. Jungkook will just be cannon fodder. That's a double kill going over to the Hecarim and a great fight for Hyperion Origin.
It absolutely is, Colonel, but you have to be questioning what Monkeys Rising are thinking here. Again, so many teams do this every single week. I'll say it every single week. I'm on the desk. When you don't have positioning for a fight and when the Drake is falling low, you can't step up this late. They don't know how low it is just yet. They're still looking to see how low it is. They know that the other team is on it, but if you just can't claim the position, it's really hard to claim the position. Baki ends up walking really far forward just to look for something, and by the time you're in the pit, it's already gone, and you're fighting over nothing at this point. Who cares if you get trade kills back? But the downside is you give kills and you don't get the objective. So again, Hyperion with a really big swing here, putting them up 3,000 at 12 minutes, Colonel. It's looking pretty rough so far from Monkeys Rising.
What a massive lead to have so early in the game. Remember, Hyperion is 2-0 so far in EGL. They are atop the standings. Monkeys Rising is 1-1, so they are in the middle of the table trying to compete with these top spots. And this is where you're seeing the difference between these two teams in their decision-making processes going up to these Drakes, where Hyperion didn't give up that advantage in the first Drake. They let it happen, and Monkeys Rising pay the price for not doing the same.
They absolutely do pay the price, but we're seeing the Rift come down here mid lane. A teleport coming out from the Gnar to potentially stop the charge. It's still going to go through all onto the Wukong instead. A very interesting play. As
looking in off Shiny Spy, there's a lot of CC, and he will fall. Dracana will find the kill. Now Jungkook makes his way out, but just way too far forward for Chinese Spy, and he gives his life over for a fourth time.
And you're starting to wonder why he's stepping up there. You know that the Rift is called, the TP's in. You're still going to get the crash. I know the gold doesn't go onto you, but it's gold nonetheless. And Spy is absolutely...
He's in the second, using his ultimate to try and get out, but they will be tower diving him. There's a lot of tower shots so far. Zuko's honor will go down. Shut down going over to Malphite, but traded 1-for-1 in the tower dive. Not too shabby for Malphite, but still another death for Monkeys Rising.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you'll take that if you're Monkeys Rising, because you do get the shutdown, and they do commit a decent amount to the dive as they commit Hecarim Ghost. So, at the end of the day, it's not too bad. The Malphite does get a lot of extra gold that he wouldn't have had otherwise if he hadn't died. So, I would say that's a positive for Monkeys Rising. I think Hyperion went a little over-aggressive, but nonetheless, they're still in the driver's seat with 3.3k up so early. A TP coming out from basing to the top side. With Drake spawning in 2 minutes, I don't think Basing's going to have it in time, so it may be an early sign of danger for Little Monkeys around this third dragon, Colonel.
Yes, and important to note, this will be Infernal Soul for Game 1. A lot of damage. Both of these team comps aren't shying on the damage already, so just packing even more on with that Infernal Soul. I think both teams, would have been a little bit happier if there was Mountain Soul. It's very hard to lose a game when you have Mountain Soul, but regardless, Infernal Soul is the game of choice so far. And it looks like very early, a minute 30 in, they're going to be pushing down the mid lane. That's going to be the ultimate going down, and that's Fate's call to try and keep his support alive. Yoked is going to pull back. The Death Sentence will land. A flash forward, but it's just too much. Oh, and there's the Super Mega Death Rocket to finish it off. And in the mid lane, actually, Annie finding a solo kill onto Corki. We'll have to take a look at that one as Dracana solo kills Chinese Spy in the mid lane.
And again, Colonel, there's just such good aggression from Dracana once he gets this advantage. Oof. I mean, you have to give credit to the Hecarim that gave Dracana this early lead, but now Dracana's been able to push the tempo, push the aggression, and get more off of it as the Flash Bear Q auto is just too much for Spy, and now he's 0-5 on this pick.
Zuko's honor and Jungkook fighting up in the river. Annie will be the first to rotate, but he is fast enough, just barely, to not have to burn his flash to get out. But regardless, pushing him out even further. Rift is alive on the top side, second Rift, of course. So we'll see if they do contest it, but it looks like they will be backing.
And with them backing off here, I think that it's, again, the right play. Maybe Monkeys Rising is looking towards trading this Rift Herald in return for the Dragon, which is, I think, a smart play.
That's a lot of damage on the top side here. If you check on the minimap, it looks like Thresh is roaming up. He does have the red trinket, and that's the ultimate going to be used. Mini Gnar just in perfect timing, but basically the second's HP is falling down incredibly low. We'll see, does the Death Sentence land? No, it does not. He flashes under tower. It will take the final tower shot. He will go down, and Thresh actually taking over that kill with the Ignite. being the last one to hit it, but a kill on the top side for Monkeys Rising.
It is, and I mean, I think that's a very interesting flash from the Rune Mage. I don't think you have to burn your flash there if you're going to flash under the tower. You are basically committing flash to guarantee that you're dead. Though maybe he was looking over to give the kill over to Thresh instead of this Malphite.
Uh-oh. Base in the second. He's trying his best to run, but Disintegrate will get the stun. Incinerate will do the damage, and one more for the end. Base in second will fall, and Dracana is on an absolute rampage.
Absolutely, and Dracana has taken over this game, Colonel, with 5k being the team lead. I'm curious if we can see the gold on Annie to see how much of that advantage is through the mid lane. Looks like 3,000 of that 5k advantage is on the Annie. That's a full item almost for Dracana, and Dracana's been absolutely dominating after this early pressure from Zuko's Honor, giving Dracana the push he needed to take over this game, Colonel. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I love to see them able to push that early advantage and convert it into even more. Now, at a Drake advantage, starting to slowly chip down even more towers. They do have a tower advantage as well. So, great job so far by that mid-jungle duo for the side of Hyperion.
It has been. I think that's been the story of the game. I think that this Hecarim and this Annie have been able to impact the map so much more, but nothing.
They're trying to look on the top side, but just spotted out a little bit too early. Leona is here. They do have multiple members on the top side, but looks like nothing to show for it.
There is nothing to show for it. And back to what I was saying with the early aggression, I think that we're seeing a bit of a difference of aggression from both of these teams as Spy and BTS Jungkook are looking to sit back a little and maybe scale into the game, and looking for Zuko's Honor and Dracana aren't allowing that. This Hecarim and this Annie have been dominating this entire early game, and it's putting the Corki so far behind that you're going to have to wait to maybe 30 minutes to start to see this Corki spike into the late game, and who knows in 12 minutes if that's going to be too late for this Corki. So again, Monkeys Rising have to start looking for picks here before objectives spawn, because right now you have 3 minutes before the next Drake, and I'd argue that's more important than Baron spawn to find something, and I wonder what they're going to be able to find, Colonel.
Basing the second, setting himself up to try and go over that wall, but they did not bite, and he was spotted out after the fact. But if we take a look at Monkeys Rising and where they have those advantages, where we can look to see which players are going to be the ones to try and bring this game back, I think the only real confident place I can have my eyes on is this bot lane. Kalista is incredibly strong. She does have the shield bow, and while on the top side, the top laner is down a lot of CS, and the jungle is strong, I feel like Kalista, with this Fate's Call, has to do a lot of work to set up her support to really find the pick they're looking for.
And I think that is how it starts, Colonel. I think that
Dracana, oh, with the ultimate. Oh, you can't even play the game. Just disconnect already. Chinese Spy does not move. He's down to 0-6, and that is the Rift Herald popped in the top side as well. They're looking to crack tier 2.
They are, Colonel, and again, when you get that far ahead on Annie, you can look for those plays, and Dracana very smart pathing up through the jungle. Not enough vision from Monkeys Rising to really see where Dracana was going, and all of a sudden wrapping around the corner, and again, as you said, Corki not able to play the game 0-6 now because of all the punish that Dracana and this Hecarim from looking for Zuko has been able to provide, and again, it's all Hyperion after the first 10 minutes of the game, and it's looking pretty dire, Colonel. It's looking pretty dire.
Absolutely. If you take a look at that gold lead, it is ballooning. It's already climbing further and further. It's already at 7k now, but with a minute left until Infernal, this will be sole point if Hyperion Origin is able to get it. So I expect there to be a contest here, but already Hyperion is swarming into this bot side river, and they have a lot of wards to help them get there.
They do, and I wonder if Monkeys Rising is just going to give this objective feeling that they're way too far behind to fight, and maybe waiting for next Drake. It would give them till 26 minutes to find the money they potentially need.
Jungkook will check the bush. He's going to get spotted out by Lo-Fi, and that's the perfect ultimate from downtown. And based in a second, on the other side of the jungle, will fall to Dracana as well. And slowly the dominoes continue to knock over for Monkeys Rising. And right in time for Drake, there's no jungler alive.
And Colonel, when you're this far behind, nothing is yours unless you claim it as a team.
Uh-oh. Chinese Spy is going to get engaged on. He does have the package to get himself to safety. That is Tibbers, and as well as the Onslaught of Shadow is going to be used, but the hook does not land in the mid lane, and Meganar is ready. So overall, the more you look, the less of an opportunity Monkeys Rising has to find a way back in this game, and slowly their time is coming.
It is, and they're starting to run out of time here as...
Oh, that's a flash forward into the Gnar ultimate. Lo-Fi will find himself here. Face Call is really good, but oh no, you missed the ultimate. That is so important to land. Now taking the tower does not matter. Zuko's Honor will find himself away. Corki just does not have the damage. Now Jungkook just trying to clear the wave by Hyperion. They almost bit a little bit more than they could chew, but with that ultimate not landing, they could not punish for Monkeys Rising.
And again, I mean, mechanics costing Monkeys Rising in this fight, though, with all the gold that they had, it was a great play from the Rune Mage, creating that setup to kill the Thresh, even though there was a window to turn for Monkeys Rising. They weren't able to find it, and now, Colonel, I feel like on the minds of Monkeys Rising, they're already thinking about next game, because I don't think they see a way back in, because I think that's one of the better opportunities you would see at this point in the game. And Annie's on 3 items while Quirky's on 1 and a tier. It's devastating, Colonel.
Absolutely. The difference in these two mid laners is so massive. And now Baron is alive. It looks like Monkeys Rising will slowly try and push themselves into this topside river to get some wards. But after they gave over that last Drake, there is a 3-minute and 30-second timer until Infernal Soul goes over to Hyperion.
Yeah, and I think you said it right there. It is going to go to Hyperion. I don't think there's a way for Monkeys Rising to contest, but what I would like to see from Hyperion at this point is to look to make a play around the Baron in these 3 minutes. I don't want to see a team sit around and do nothing for an extended period of time. This is what we see.
Ooh. Good attempt at that death sentence, forcing out the flash from Attila on this Jinx. Maybe the first sign of life in a long time for Monkeys Rising, but we'll see if they're even capable of punishing that flash in the ensuing fight.
Yeah, and I mean, again, Attila's gone untouched all game, and you have to...
Oh, looking onto the Rune Mage, they do have the Q for the slow. Corki, can he get there? Basing the second did use Unstoppable Force to knock him up, but it just looks like they're chasing so far. They can't get anything else. Chinese Spy has yet to even get an auto attack in, and Rune Mage will get out scot-free. And check out the top side. When you put so much into the bot side, that leaves you open to get taken on the Baron. And now Dracana, this is a disgusting flank. You have nowhere to run to, and he's going to get stunned up. He's going to get killed. Iote is trying his best to kite away, but the Meganar is ready. That's so much damage out of Dracana. The Super Mega Death Rocket almost finding his mark, but that is a great ultimate coming out of Rune Mage. Now Zuko's Honor will continue the onslaught. Jungkook, he will fall. Double kill going over to Rune Mage, and that could be the nail in the coffin as they will try and tower dive as well. Rune Mage, he will tank it up. Malphite will fall. He does not even lose his life for it. That is a clean ace going over to Hyperion Origin.
And I mean, Colonel, I think that might as well be the game, as Monkeys Rising are wiped off the map, as they've been wiped off the map all game. Now, if you're Monkeys Rising, you have to be thinking into next game about how you need to approach this team, because man, have they looked dominant. This Hecarim has been really powerful. Dracana has been able to run with this lead, and if Jinx, Leona are able to go even into Callisto Thresh, that's something you need to address too. It looks like even the Gnar is creating really good opportunities for his team on all fronts. Hyperion are performing really well, and if you're Monkeys Rising, you have to be wondering how you're going to approach next game, because what do you target, Colonel? Everybody's been playing so well from Hyperion Origin, as they're getting resets off to spend thousands of gold that they got from this ace.
Yeah, and the biggest worry that I see for Monkeys Rising going into next game, as we take a look at this replay, just a great turn, Dracana on this disgusting flank. Paka, talk me through exactly what happened.
And they're trying to contest the Baron here a little too late for Monkeys Rising to commit 3 to the bot side, and Dracana and the Rune Mage have a flank, and it's just absolutely devastating. Dracana behind them. As soon as you see Annie, it's almost too late for Monkeys Rising, as she one-shots anyone on your team at any point, but it's Monkeys Rising on the Baron.
Monkeys Rising taking advantage of those back timers to try and burst down the Drake. Hecarim's gonna come in, he's gonna get the steal! Zuko's honor will find it, and now it's going to be 1 kill. Can they even find the fight after the fact? Jungkook will fall next. Double kill going over to the mid lane. Dracana. Ayok trying his best to kite it away. That'll be the flash forward. Zenith Blade, and pop goes the Callista. Triple kill for Annie, and if it wasn't game before, it certainly is now. Hyperion Origin will march down to the Nexus.
And Colonel, I think we've just seen one of the biggest stomps of the season in EGL, because this has been, they have a family. Monkeys Rising players have a family, Colonel, and again, Hyperion performing super well all game, facing the second, trying his best to stop it. I'm sure it'll come to nothing.
He did stall in time for some respawns, but it just looks too little too late. Thresh will give over his life, and that is the pause. The game is over. Dracana finishing the game off legendary. Absolutely disgusting performance from Hyperion, and this is exactly why we see them atop the standings coming into this week.
And again, Colonel, absolute domination. If you look at that Annie damage, it's just been so much, doubling anybody else on the side of Monkeys Rising. And again, Colonel, if you're looking at the draft for game 2, there is a lot of changes that need to happen from Monkeys Rising. Clearly, Dracana can't be given a free lane. Clearly, you have to counterpick this man. You at least can't give him this Annie into Corki, which is one of Corki's worst matchups, because Dracana will just play the counterpick too well. And this Jinx is something you have to address as well. If you're playing Callista Thresh and the Jinx is still able to go even, excuse me as I hiccup a little, and this Jinx is able to go even, you have to wonder if you're allowed to leave this Jinx for Attila as well. There's a lot of places that Monkeys Rising needs to attack in draft game 2 for them to even stand a chance against this Hyperion side after how much of a smash game 1 was, Colonel.
Absolutely. Straight back to the drawing board for Monkeys Rising. Hyperion should be very, very happy with one of the most dominant wins we've seen so far in EGL. But we will be taking a quick break as we set up for draft of Game 2. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone. We are back with Game 2 draft. As we get into bands, take a little bit of a pit stop to check out the rest of Elemental League. Revolution is up 1-0 against Big Duck Entourage, and Flippa is up 1-0 against Abyssal Sapphire. Pack-a-Paul, help me decipher what the Game 2 changes are going to be. Monkeys Rising lost abysmally in Game 1.
The problem is, Colonel, is I feel like you have to attack almost everywhere on that Hyperion Origin roster. We're seeing the Hack Room be exchanged for the Kazakhs, which is very interesting to see. Hyperion swapping out that Jinx ban. I'm uncertain as to what it was for in particular. We'll see what Monkey Rising goes with B1 here. There are a lot of options for them. It's just up to them on what they want to pick and what they feel works best.
Yeah, and
Senna.
just a reminder to everyone that Teemo ban is the fill ban for the E-sub. I don't think Monkeys Rising is scared of Hyperion's Teemo, but the Senna locked in for Monkeys Rising. I have to assume that this will be for Ioked. And what are you expecting Hyperion to answer here?
Well, I think that Monkeys Rising shows almost all types of fastings. I think they show the Scion, the Cho'Gath, and the Tom Kench. So Kaisa is a decent funnel answer. Kaisa Alistar. I'm not sure if this is the right lane answer for my Hyperion, but it is a pressure lane. It gives them a way to have Alistar have maybe a bit of a free lane in the sense. I mean, Senna does get to claim a lot of souls off of him, which is why the pick is a bit weird, but maybe Hyperion Origin want that dive comp. And Alistar gives you a lot of ways in, and Kaisa, obviously, with that killer instinct, can get into your backline. It does look like Monkeys Rising is going with the Cho'Gath to pair with the Senna in the bot lane here, so it is fasting as well, Colonel. Both drops are interesting so far. Much different sides, like a much different side of the coin from game one.
Yep, just like you said, the Cho'Gath locked in almost assuredly for support. Although remember that can still be flex top. Last week, I think it was when we saw them flexing between Cho and Scion to leave you questioning who's going to be the one fasting and who's going to be in the top side. But looks like Trundle locked in for Jungkook, one of his most comfortable picks there in the jungle.
And though it isn't a great spot for Trundle because they haven't shown tanks yet, it does maybe make teams do the opposite at times where they realize that there's a Trundle in the game, so they're afraid to pick tanks. So we might see Hyperion Origin go with a very, very squishy comp here, as Nocturne is a very good pick here for Hyperion and R3. It does add to this dive theme. There is a decent amount of disengage from Monkeys Rising, but nonetheless, Hyperion Origin are putting together a great dive comp thus far.
And important to note as well, we talked about it in draft for game one, the potential for flex, also Monkeys Rising having one, but Nocturne is a flexible pick in it of itself. It can go in one of these solo lanes as well as in the jungle, although I do have to say I expect it to be in the jungle. And Hyperion Origin, as we take a look at the bans, will be knocking out the Kale. It looks like for both sides, the top lane is the focus of ban phase 2.
Which I think is very interesting, Colonel, because the Annie is being left up for Hyperion Origin, and again, Dracana had such an amazing game on that champion, and giving him the counterpick option into Annie, you better pick a champion that does very, very well into Annie, because if you leave that up, it's a little dangerous. Now there are options to play into Annie. The Annie does get banned, thankfully. I got a little nervous, and
Wow.
instantly the brand mid from Dracana.
Hyperion very confident in the brand mid. I did not expect that. I guess they want to continue to hold up the flex possibility of the Nocturne. I very much expected to give counterpick to the mid lane considering how strong he outperformed, but it seems like they're comfortable giving Chinese Spy the counterpick. We'll see what his go-to champ is into the mid, and it's going to be a rerun of the Corki into a much hopefully better matchup for him, and we'll see if that comfort can finally start to show.
Now, though Corki did get punished very hard by the Hakram Annie duo, I feel that Brand has less windows to make this happen, as one of Brand's worst matchups in the game is Corki because of the low range that Brand provides, and Corki just so greatly outrages him. We're seeing the Urgot on B5 as the Cho'Gath does go bottom. That is an awesome pick from Literal Monkeys. As where is that Silas going, Colonel? Is that top? I think it has to be actually looking at Hyperion's draft, and that's a wild pick from Hyperion Origin going with such a squishy comp to round it out.
Silas into the Urga, he will have a little bit of trouble, as most melees do, into those shotgun knees, but a lot of amazing ultimates to pick from, right? He has that Trundle to increase his stats, but he has those Cho stacks as well, so he can find himself just as big as the Cho'Gath across from him. So I love the pick. We'll see how the laning phase is going to work out for it. But overall, some very, very strong divergence from what we saw in game one.
It is, Colonel, and I think that Monkeys Rising got it right this time. I'll say it right here. I think that there's a lot of good disengaged tools. I think that Hyperion had to kind of pivot out of this dive comp very late. Now you see Brandon and Silas who don't exactly want to do what the first half of their comp does. It's more so that Brand's not really wanting to dive in. He can kind of do your solo queue Brand impression of flashing forward with the R on himself and dying.
Very good at that, in case you
Yeah,
have not aware.
I know that, Colonel, that is one of your specialties. Going 110 in solo queue is among your favorites.
Oh, yeah.
But with that said, I think that the disengage from Monkeys Rising is going to be enough. The Quirky fights from such a long range. The Senna has such a long range. The Kaisa and the Brand fight from so close. As long as Monkeys Rising plays with their front line in the right spot and just zones off Hyperion Origins push in, the range difference that Monkeys Rising has will be enough, I think, this game. So after looking at both drafts, I think that we could see just a very dominant performance from Hyperion Origin. They are so good, and they are good on these champions that they've picked for themselves, but I think that Monkeys Rising got the draft right, so I'm going to put my faith in Monkeys Rising here, game 2.
Oh, this is such a hard decision. Voting against either the Monkeys or against Brandman, who's got a special place in my heart. But honestly, for probably the first time, I think I'm going to have to agree with you. I think this is a comp that we've seen Monkeys Rising run very, very similar to in their previous sets, both last week and the week before, and they found incredible success, especially with this fasting Senna. And although the Corki had a miserable time in game one, one of the comfort champs in the mid lane. So I think if there's ever a chance for Monkeys Rising to be Hyperion, it's probably this game, although Hyperion make it a very, very tall task.
They do, just because of how good they are, Colonel, and I'm excited. I want to see this go to 3. I know that there's a very specific producer I know oh so well that may want to sleep in chat, but I think that we have all the right storylines, the right draft to see this maybe go to 3, and Colonel, I'm excited.
Absolutely. We will take a quick break as we load up into game 2, but stay tuned as Monkeys Rising will try and come back against Hyperion Origin. Hello, everybody. We are back on the Rift for Game 2 of Monkeys Rising versus Hyperion. Looks like this time around there will be no fun level 1s, but a great draft on both sides. A spicy one at that. It's actually Zuko's Honor will push forward. Looks like I expect him to just get a ward and back out. It is spotted, so they do know it's in vision. But we'll see if, yep, Jungkook does have the sweeper. So I think Monkeys Rising has actually won this game already because he has a 1 CS advantage. But GG go next. But Packapal, talk me through this.
Well, if there's any game to not have a level 1 Colonel, it is this one, as we know how strong Alistar level 1 is. It looks like Hyperion are playing with their luck, though, because I don't think they really want to step into the jungle here to take this extra damage. But I think we're going to see a very standard game from both junglers again. They're both looking to hit 6. Trundle can make more happen early. So I'm hopeful that BTS Jungkook is going to be able to push the tempo a little into this Nocturne pick. But once level 6 hits, I think that looking for Zuko's Honor is going to go ballistic. Right now, in Season 11, cooldowns aren't real. They're a figment of your imagination. So once this Nocturne gets ultimate, it's always going to be off cooldown to put that pressure on the map and try to get his team ahead. Nonetheless, I'm very excited. We're seeing a much different view based on Game 1. We're seeing Monkeys Rising go back to the scaling, but we are seeing Hyperion with a much different tempo, pushing the tempo, and with an interesting dive comp. I think that the brand is a little off theme here, but it can still work. And I'm excited, Colonel.
Yeah, if we take a look at the jungle starts, it will be Zuko's Honor starting alone on the Raptors once more. It will be Jungkook going through his bot side to the top side, so I don't expect them to be on the same scuttle unless one of them goes for some shenanigans, I guess we'll say. But that should mean that a very calm early game for the second game.
It really should be, as we see both lanes try to farm it out. I'm interested to see how many stacks Senna is going to get throughout the game here. I think we should keep a very close eye on it because Alistar is a bit of a stack magnet early on. And ooh, I am excited to see whether or not Ayoked can punish that because there's a lot of value in that. But Zuko's Honor in the top lane, Colonel. I think this is the first play of the game.
Zuko's Honor will go for it. The Silas is going to land everything. That will be the flash forward. Ooh, Zuko's Honor flashing just a little bit too late, so the tether does not stay. Burning his flash, so a flash for flash in the top side on that top lane gank. Ooh, Dracona actually looking forward. He's going to get the Ignite under tower. He's going to take 2 tower shots, but it doesn't matter. First blood going over to the brand. Now, Jungkook will be fighting here, but his mid laner has died. The Pillar of Flame is missed, but the top laner has arrived. The Subjugate does not land. Chinese Spy now has TP back in, but that is the Scuttle Crab going over. Trundle will see if he's able to go to the bot side Scuttle Crab, but already the mid lane difference is starting to show.
It is, and Dracona is such a strong player in this league. He's probably one of the best mid laners in the league if you were to look at everybody on an even scale, but especially in solo queue as well. I think he's the highest ranked mid laner in the league, and again, showing his prowess. He's in a bad matchup, it doesn't matter. He flashes forward once he finds that W onto Corki, and is able to hit everything and get the solo kill on the Chinese Spy with a matchup where he really shouldn't be able to do much, with the Corki being able to get the shove on the Brand and maybe being able to keep him under tower, which early game this Brand pick does not want to be under tower. And again, Dracana just finding those ways in as Rocker is stealing away the blue buff. Let's see if he actually gets away with this.
So Silas is using his TP topside. He does have the Spy. He will be able to take it. The mid lane priority was in his favor as well as the bot lane. So able to get that steal and continue with the rest of his camp. So a great job to notice that from Jungkook after getting forced off the top scuttle. He did also get the bottom scuttle. So no loss there. So overall, a great job by the Monkeys Rising Issa.
He really has been performing well all series, Colonel. I'd have to say. I think that the pathing from BTS Jungkook has been fantastic because he's really been able to find stuff where there isn't a lot.
Forward. Ooh, headbutt pulverize is flashed away from, and now the TP back in. Basing the second will find Zuko's honor. Didn't know you could find that one, but he will, and he gets the kill over to Iokt, who's already stacking away. A great early advantage, and they should be able to convert that straight into a Mountain Drake.
They absolutely will, Colonel. And again, Jungkook being able to show up for the counter kick on time. The TP comes down. I think that as we look into the replay here, Iokt are pushing very, very far forward. They do have the vision for them. They do catch the Nocturne, and they start to back off. Attila, Lo-Fi, and Zuko should probably not commit to this play still, and Rocker gives up half of his Krugs to start coming for this counter kick. A great root lands from Senna to start this play off, and from there, they're not able to find more than one, but it's still a lot to be found as...
Based in the second is looking for something in the mid lane. Jungkook is here as well, but he's about to get tethered up by Zuko's honor. He's fleeing away. That's a lot of damage. The Pillar of Flame will land. Zuko's honor will find the kill. And a little bit of an over-aggression in the mid lane, although we have to take important note that there is a lane swap coming out of Monkeys Rising, and it not working so far.
And I think the lane swap was due to the teleport coming down from basting the second, but because you're lane swapped in a situation where you're not looking to fight, you're just looking to wave clear and then reset to normal.
Oh!
But we're gonna have to go back and see that because the HP bars look dire. Colonel, talk me through this.
Based in the second, looking in, he's going to find the E right under the tower as Dracana takes the tower aggro, and he gets the heal just barely from his last remaining pot, as well as the heal off of the wave. Great job from Base in the second, using that tiny window of opportunity to get that advantage. Now, Monkeys Rising might be potentially looking to push that even further. Now looking on the bot side, that's the Pillar onto Attila, getting the flash out, but the root still lands. There's a lot of damage onto Attila. The headbutt pulverize, Ignite coming down onto Attila. There's so much damage, though, he will burn, and that will be Cho'Gath finding the kill. Alistar will find his way away, but a successful gank on the bot side. Monkeys Rising finally showing some fight in this series.
They absolutely are, and I mean, it's some heroism from basing the second here to start it all off, but again, a great gank from Rocker. Iokt finds a clutch W right before Kai'Sa's able to flash, and from there, I mean, again, a Pillar to follow up, and now Kai'Sa has no summoners in the bot lane, and we're seeing signs of life from Monkeys Rising. I think they're playing the comp that definitely outscales here. I think that Rand falls off and their comp is much squishier, and there's a lot of value in having a late game frontline, but again, signs of life, Colonel. Zuko's honor is a little deep here by himself. He's just going to back off. A bit of a waste of time from him. But again, great pathing from Rocker to make the play, and a great mechanical play from Iokt to land to that route in time.
Yep, but let's not sell Hyperion short. They do have a gold. They are about even in gold, only 400 gold away from it, despite the kill advantage, despite the Drake advantage. And a lot of that comes from the CS. You take a look at that top side, 55 to 35 in this Silas's favor. I was worried about the matchup, but he's been doing so much work, and now he's on a roam in the mid lane. He has Urgot's ultimate. If he's able to hit it, that's going to be a lot of damage. He's going to find it. He will get the pullback. Jungkook is fleeing away from the Urgot ult. Fear Beyond Death. He's flashing forward, actually. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to win this one, but he uses Subjugate. Dracana is there waiting in the wings. Urgot is on his way, but he does not know. He's also finding a Nocturne. Oh, that could have been a very, very dangerous one, but he's able to escape so far. We'll see if they re-engage. But Jungkook has arrived now, and it looks like a successful roam in the mid lane. But check out the bot side is left. as Lo-Fi will fall. You're gonna get actually jumped. Disgusting from the bot side. We'll have to take a look at that further, but a great play from Monkeys Rising to trade after the good roam from Rune Mage in the mid lane.
And let's see what happens here as we go back a little. It looks like they're looking for something. They step too far forward in the two-man queue from this Cho'Gath, absolutely dominating this bot lane, and there's nowhere for Alistar to go. It's absolutely fantastic from Zell here as
gank on the top side, flashing forward for the tether, this time getting it right. That's a CC chain, beautifully done. Basing the second, you have nowhere to run. Rune Mage will find his second kill of the game, and basing the second will fall.
And I mean, again, back and forth all game, Colonel. I think that this is the fight we wanted to see from Monkeys Rising going into game 2. But as level 6s hit and as Hyperion get these very, very powerful ultimates for their side, the next 5 minutes, Monkeys Rising have to be careful. Because though they do outscale, at level 6, the amount of power that this Hyperion comp gets is way too much for them to handle as
Cho'Gath was spotted on a ward trying to back. Now they were trying to look onto Kaisa, but the roam from the mid lane has so much damage onto Attila. He should fall. Dracana has not been able to, but he will finally find the stun. Dawning Shadow coming over top to try and keep Cho'Gath alive. He's burning, but oh! He's just barely keeping alive. No, he finally will fall. Now the CC will land, but just a little bit too late, but shut down, going over to Dracana in the mid lane.
And now, I mean, the response from Monkeys Rising is good to get that roam in after the wave is pushed, and I think that they can go for the Drake here, but now all eyes are on Dracana to carry this game for Hyperion. All of the early game gold, again, has found its way onto the mid laner of Hyperion, and let's see what he can do as he steals away the Scuttle Crab in a little bit of a tilter for Roger with the smite still being up, and they turn onto the Drake. I wonder if there's going to be contest here. I think that they do have room to. They might opt out of it. Maybe it's for the better, as they've made a couple plays that have been a bit costly so far to them around these objectives. Ayoked is hunting for something. Nothing to be found there, and Colonel, again, all of this gold back onto Dracana with just so much power in his hands. The gold is even for teams, so there is a bigger game ahead of him instead of such a dominant game 1 that he just got to run over everybody in. The real question is, will he be able to deliver on this Brand pick? I mean, the Annie was very impressive, but Brand's a little bit of a different story. There's less random kill potential you can find with this champ.
Oh, Rune Mage is going to be looking in here. He does have the Urgot ultimate, but that's a lot of trade damage. But back to the point on the bot side, a lot of... Oh, actually, hold that thought. Urgot used onto basing the second. He's going to try and get it before the opposing one can. It's a fear beyond death battle, and Urgot will win it out, shut down. Going onto him, Silas will fall. A great gank on the top side for Jungkook.
And again, it is the right time in the right place for Jungkook because he's just been able to find these counter ganks. He hasn't really made too many proactive plays, but he's just able to find these windows to get his team ahead just by being in the right spot.
Oh, that's a lot of damage to Attila. He's going to be knocked up under tower. Can they get the damage? The killer is keeping the shield alive. Well done by Attila. They almost had the damage. Now the TP coming through. This is Rune Mage coming on the bot side. The counter TP is there, but the CC will land on Azena. Now Nocturne coming in with the ultimate. Zuko's Honor will find the one kill. Now he might have just TP'd to his death, Base in a second, trying his best to stay alive, but the Gorky package is massive and has so much damage coming out. Base in a second, keeping himself alive, barely, but no, he will just finally fall. Cho'Gath will get the knock up under tower, he will get a good amount of damage, that's going to be the kill. And now Chinese Spy is trying to get away, he will find the flash, done from Dracana. Now can they get the trade kill onto Zuko? No, he cannot. And that is a great win from Hyperion, as they will make their way up the river 3-for-1, and Senna's ultimate will not find it with the Dawning Shadow.
And I think that's a great play from the Corgi to try to salvage something with the package. It was huge. It was on to 3 people. We're going to get to go to replay here. The TP comes in. The Cho'Gath Q is late. It causes Yoked to flash, and Yoked dies before the fight even starts. A bit of a misplay from him there, but nonetheless, surprisingly, because of the 2-man knockup, Basing's able to get out for a couple more autos. He falls, and Zuko's Honor is on the run here as Rune Mage goes a little too deep. I think if he sticks with his team, the play looks even better. But Dracana flashes forward, hits the EQ, and again, Dracana just performing on this pick, because I think that Corki would have been able to find one more if it weren't for the heroics from Dracana again.
Absolutely, he was our player to watch from game 1, doing it yet again, but this time around, again, that mid-jungle duo is so strong. Zuko's Honor 4-1-2, 400 gold bounty on his head. He is doing so well on this Nocturne pick. We'll see how he's able to transition that into the later stages of the game as or to group up. It becomes harder and harder to play the Nocturne, but a lot of damage coming in on the bot side. But we'll see where the next fight is. There's 2 minutes left till this Ocean Drake spawns.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Colonel, Monkeys Rising is still up gold after that fight was lost, which, again, it's...
Oh,
as
Nocturne
the fight
coming in,
happens again...
over the wall to knock up and shut down this Cho. There's no way he can get out of there. He's trying to get as much damage as possible. Ooh, just barely not being able to get the chomp out. Actually, potentially chomping the wrong person. I'm not quite sure on that one. But still, a lot of damage, but just barely too little. Ooh, base in a second. Trying to find Fear Beyond Death. He will not find it. Now, we'll see if they're looking for anything more. I hope they do not. But yet again, another pick for Hyperion, and they're starting to claw themselves back and try and get rid of this gold lead.
And I think a very important thing to note here, Colonel, is how you mentally feel. Oh.
Base in a second. He's caught in the jungle. He's going to flash forward. He will get the E. There's a lot of damage, but his teammates finally arrived. Now the W. No, it lands! At base in a second, he's going to burn! And Dracano will find it with the Pillar of Flame. And yet another pick, forcing them out of their own jungle, trying to look for even more as they force onto the red buff. And Dracana, he is continuing to heat up on this brand.
He is absolutely continuing to push this pressure, and again, just a strong performer for Hyperion. Now, I have to talk about how it feels when you're down kills in game. From the players' perspectives right now, I don't think Monkeys Rising really feels like they are, or at least ahead in the game, because as soon as you go down kills, you don't get to see the gold like the desk does. You don't get to know that you're ahead and you're actually playing well. I'm sure that at least basing the second feels like his team is pretty out of this game, as he is pretty far behind in that farm. But you have to wonder what Monkeys Rising are going to back off from, because they feel like they can't fight when they should be able to.
See if this Drake is on that list, as the Ocean has spawned. They will find a great CC. The Pillar is there for Alistar. He's going to have so much trouble. He will finally have to burn his flash, as well as the ultimate to find his way out. Now Nocturne using the ultimate as well. The Pillar of Flame does not land, and finally Jungkook comes out of the Senate E. Will have to flash to burn it, but that's a lot of CC. You walked up way too far. Cho'Gath will fall, and right as Base in the Second arrives, his support will die. The Chinese Spy is here. We'll see if they potentially still want to look for this. It is 4v4 until Kaisa arrives. Trying to poke out over the top. Iox could get stunned up here. That's a lot of damage. Will he be able to find the kill? The passive is ticking. He will try to get one heal, but no, he's going to burn Chikana on a rampage, and that's going to be the Drake. Will they find it yet again? No, they will not. Chikana still looking over it. Now 5-1-4 on this brand. And Hyperion, they continue to fire on all cylinders. They are certainly getting stronger as they finally have themselves in a gold lead.
They do, Colonel, and again, that's what you get when you're playing this mid-game dive comp. You're able to push the pressure so far ahead. And let's see if there's more here. If Basing the Second gets CC'd one more time, I think this Kaisa is going to go in, but the tower is his safety net here. But Colonel, what we're talking about here, it's about the impact of these ultimates as you start to reach the level 6 through 11. As you get your level 1 and level 2 ultimate, your comp spikes incredibly hard, and that's exactly what Hyperion are able to do. Like, they are able to create these windows because of how oppressive these ultimates feel in game. If you're not able to see from this Nocturne ulti, your communication starts to back off. Monkeys Rising should understand with full vision that if they just wait out the ultimate, they should win the fight, but sometimes they don't know. But Attila's call, Colonel.
Looking in on the top side, the Nocturne ult being pulled to try and keep him alive, but just perfectly played from Monkeys Rising, playing around that limited vision Hyperion had on the top side, and he will lose his ultimate and his flash for the attempt and still die. Now 0-3 on this Kaisa.
And I mean, there are still signs of life from Monkeys Rising as they find a pick in the side lane, Colonel. Let's see if Hyperion have a response here, as Lo-Fi is in the bot lane. A TP does come through. Maybe they'll opt in to fight it. Maybe the TP is just for safety. We'll see if they're able to turn anything.
That's a good knock-up onto the Alistar. He will try and turn. It looks like they're trying to look for this fight. The Brand ultimate doing so much damage. Pyroclasm will be burning Chinese Spy and Baki so low on HP, but they will be able to survive now. Basing the second on the other side, he will not find Fear Beyond Death, and now he's just a little bit too far. The damage is going to come through. The chomp for the Silas will find himself the kill, and an overstay. Great punish from the side of Hyperion, and they will trade 1-for-1 and focus down this bot tier 3 tower.
And that's what a 5-1-5 brand can do to almost any team comp. If you just see how much damage he was able to put out with that ultimate. And I don't think it's a bad TP for him basing the second, but they're just not able to find anything off of it because they're all chunked out. And it's only from Brand himself. As we go to replay here to get to see more of it, they're chasing out. It looks pretty good. They're aggressing pretty well. But all Brand has to do after the silence is over is drop his R. He doesn't even drop that much more, and the health bars from Monkeys Rising exploded. Now, Basing the second needs to kite out here. He can't go in for more. He has to realize that the play's over. He gets Dracana's flash, but now you're in trouble. And even if you do make this play and it goes right, you trade 1-for-1 at best, and you don't want to put yourself more behind in this game individually. And the gray screen is the worst way to do that because Monkeys Rising isn't behind, but Basting the second needs to be on the map to get these resources.
And with less than 2 minutes until this Ocean Drake spawns, I did not mention it earlier, but of course it is the Ocean Soul, as Nocturne is going to use his ultimate on the top side. Paranoia fleeing now is the Urgot. He does have his tower, but he might not be able to get there in time. Just barely is, and Nocturne does not want to try his luck under tower. Now Jungkook is here to try and get some damage onto Zuko. He's getting a lot of damage. Zuko, he's just trying a bit too hard, but oh, the great spell shield to block Fear Beyond Death. Now, oh, flashing away! You've got to be kidding me! He refuses to die, and Zuko's honor will live to fight another day.
And I mean, that is a play, Colonel. That was fantastic stuff from looking for Zuko's honor. He understands he's ahead in the game. He goes on to Urgot all by himself, and then just 1 dodge, 2 dodge, getting away from everything, using that spell shield, using that good movement, and a fantastic play from him, burning a lot of Monkeys Rising's tools, so they have to play safe for the next minute or so while those come back up. But again, we are in a very, very even game here, despite the kill advantage for Hyperion. It's a close one, Colonel.
Absolutely. Less than 200 gold of an advantage for Hyperion, and 36 seconds until this Drake spawns. That will be where we find our first big advantage, because this is sole point if Hyperion is able to secure this next Ocean Drake. So definitely one that Monkeys Rising does want to contest. Looks like they are posturing for it. Corki is on his way as well, and Urgot walking himself down because he does not have the TP. So all signs indicate that Monkeys Rising will be committing for this fight.
And this is such a pinnacle point in the game as everybody has everything up. I think Quirky's on his way from base with that package, as it looks like he's posturing to pick it up here. Yep, he's on the way, and this is everything, Colonel. I think that the team fight here is going to be so decisive for this game around Drake 4 because an ace is on the cards.
A good route to spot out that bush. Dracana is on the flank. Brand does so much damage, especially in these 5v5 team fights. Now, trying to force him away the best they can. Rune Mage does have the Cho'Gath ultimate available. He does have that chomp. Now we'll see as the Drake has yet to get started. There's a good amount of poke going out on either side. But Dracana has gotten rid of his flank. He will want to group up with the team. And now that's going to be the W. That's the first stun. A knockup coming on onto Dracana. We'll see if they're able to pull trigger. But Rune Mage has found himself inside the pit. They're fighting over the Scuttle Crab. And now that's the package going in. That's so much damage onto Attila. He's going to use his killer instinct to get away. Now Lo-Fi Foot Fetish will find himself dead. And now Baka finding a kill as well. Now Jungkook, he's going to do it all. And right when you thought it was close, Monkeys Rising continue to find more and more. And now Rune Mage trying his best to get away. Trying to find potentially one more, but he cannot even do that. Shut down going over to Jungkook. And the game was so close, it was teetering on an edge, and now it has tumbled. Monkeys Rising finds a 5-0 ace, and they will make their way towards the Baron.
And this is Monkeys Rising's bread and butter as they look for the team fight here. As Chinese Spy, so patient with his package, finally finds the right play, able to W over the wall, escape everything. Well, it's going well on the backside. Ayok having to run for his life here, but pathing just the right way to be able to survive this. And the whole time Jungkook is able to burn Dracana down by himself. If there's any champion who's able to do it on this team comp with Urgot being pretty far behind, it is this Urgot, but there could be a late contest here formed through the Baron as they do get it, and now it is Monkeys Rising in the driver's seat, Colonel.
It was so close for so long, but now the first of these cards have tumbled for Hyperion, and now even in Drake's as well, they do not have that Drake soul point as a win condition, and we'll see how far this gold balloons. Already a 5K advantage for Monkeys Rising after it was within 1,000, or within 100 actually earlier, and now Monkeys Rising can continue to push that advantage. And remember, they do have the scaling composition.
They do, and this was probably Hyperion's best chance in a team fight. Now, again, it all comes down to execution no matter what point in the game. If Monkeys Rising missteps and has one of their carries dies, this game is nowhere close to over, but with the Baron buff on the way, let's see what Monkeys Rising can do to generate a gold advantage for themselves and start to make this game a little easier as they scale into the late game.
Zuko's Honor smiting away the cannon, trying to keep that mid-tier one alive. They do have the potential for a flank on this top side. Dragana is pillared out. He has to burn his flash here. But check out this flank position. Chinese Spy, ooh, that is a lot of damage. The ultimate is still coming down, and now the nearsighted, he's going to get found by Zuko's Honor, and now this is a perfect fight for Hyperion. They found one, they found two, both carries are dead. Now Jungkook, he's trying his best to get away, but he could not even find the kill on the top side. Jungkook, he will burn, shut down, going over to Kaisa. Urgot is the only one remaining, and just when we thought Monkeys Rising found themselves an advantage, Hyperion swing it right back.
And again, Colonel, as I was talking about, it's all down to that execution, and Dracana is able to execute. Flashes away, gets caught by the pillar, but they step too far forward. They get caught in the W. Chinese Spy positions way too far forward. The ult bouncing back and forth, and then it is doomed as Ayoked and Chinese Spy just catch way too much damage, and again, the fight just goes wrong for Monkeys Rising as the dive comp is able to do exactly what they need. The shutdowns are collected, and now we're back to an absolutely even game state that is even Hyperion favored. It's all down to the execution, team fight after team fight after team fight, but you have to wonder, are Hyperion going to be able to do that more often, Colonel?
And all eyes will be on this brand. Dracana absolutely popped off in game one, now doing it just again. He did so much damage to Chinese Spy on, remember, this is a comfort pick for the mid laner, and not finding success, Dracana has found the upper hand consistently, performing so well. And now, we have a minute and 40 seconds until this Ocean Drake spawns. And, ooh, hold that thought, as Cho'Gath might have just overextended just a little bit for that tower. It's going to be 2v1. Should be able to get out. Wow, he is a meaty Cho'Gath. But with a minute 30 until this Ocean spawns, that will be a pivotal point in this game too.
It absolutely will be. And now I was talking about how last Drake put a team in the driver's seat, but as the game goes later and later, each big objective fight means so much for both of these teams. And it is Gold Elo, Colonel, and I don't think we're willing to handshake objectives and go for the next one. I think we're going to see a fight around this Drake in a minute and two. Now, Corki package is going to be up. His timer is set up very cleanly to be on time for every Drake. Let's see if Spy goes to pick it up soon. He has to pick it up soon if he's looking to contest it early, as it looks like Hyperion are going to have the position first, and it looks like Monkeys Rising are going to have to force their way in, but this Cho'Gath can't be this far forward, but it doesn't seem like Hyperion know that it's just the Cho'Gath instead of here, as Corki picks up the package, and we're going to see another good fight here, but
Rocky
it's so
checking with the Q. Very well done to keep safe. It is such a close game. This will be a pivotal moment if they decide to fight for this. Again, you're right, they can handshake it, but I cannot expect them to do so. Now, Monkeys Rising actually looking on the package. They're going to look on Dracana. This could be the perfect catch, but no, Corki has fallen instantly, and now this is going to be the damage coming onto Zuko's Honor. He's going to fall immediately. Now, that's so much damage. Double kill going over to the Senna. Now, the big knockup, but Senna will find a third. That's a triple kill going over to Senna. Now, Rumage is trying to do his best. Can he find it? Urgot will find one. And that is a great team fight despite losing their mid laner for Monkeys Rising. And now they have themselves Drake point 30 minutes in.
Absolutely, Colonel, and I don't think it matters the time of the game. Once you have this quirky package and you're groomed up, it's so devastating. And Dracana, again, been playing so well all game, trying to do it a little too much himself. And Spy comes in with a quirky package. Though Spy does die to the burst from Dracana, the fact that they have to burn so much, they burn the Nocturnar there and the Kaisa Killer Instinct, so much damage onto this quirky who's probably dead to rights in the first place. It is all Monkeys Rising from there on out. Ioke is able to output so much damage with this Senna, and again, Monkeys Rising back in the driver's seat. They only need one more Drake to get that very prized soul, especially since it's Ocean. That could be game ending for Hyperion. Again, it's all about that package, Colonel, starting it off. I think that when package is down, Hyperion have to look for pick plays, and if they don't find enough in this next 4 minutes before this Drake spawns, I think that with the package, Monkeys Rising have all the tools they need to get this Ocean Soul. With that said, Baron up in 20, Colonel. Do you think Hyperion are going to go for it, or do you think they're going to wait for next Drake?
They are posturing like they want to. They have the vision control, although they do not have too many controllers, but their eyes might be set on an easier target. Corki trying his best to back. Will he be able to get it off? I think he should. Ghana is so close. Will he find the double? He does! Chinese Spy is definitely going to fall here. Killer Instinct just to seal the deal. A big pick with the Baron alive, and if you were unsure if they would go for it, then I'm sure they'll go for it now. Nocturnal being used, Paranoia has no vision that they feel comfortable going on. Now they're finally going to pull trigger onto the Cho'Gath. He's such a tanky member, but Brand has such a capability to deal with tanks. Now looking for even more. He's stepping too far forward. Junku, he's way too far, slain down by the Silas. This Baron is only a formality at this point, and they will look towards the objective.
Yeah, and Colonel, again, it's when that package is down, those timers that Hyperion can find. It's a good pick they find onto the Quirky, but then Monkeys Rising are just in river when they just can't be there. Trying to secure the scuttle, but then Cho'Gath just overstays by himself. You have to start committing things like the Chomp, like the Smite, and on the way out, they're just getting chased. They're just trying to turn around. They're hoping to find more when there's just not more to be found, Colonel. And again, now it's Hyperion back in the driver's seat. This game is so back and forth, but with the Drake 230 away, I wonder if we'll get there. If Hyperion just find one more fight that goes right for them, this could be good game and good night for Monkeys Rising.
And with 2 minutes until this Drake spawns, you have to assume that that is going to be their point to fight. Again, they do always have the ability to handshake it. They are the scaling comp, and they do have the Drake advantage, but we have yet to see that so far this game, and I don't expect that to change 31 minutes in, but slowly pushing against the Baron buff in the mid lane. A lot of vision if you check out that mini-map all over the top side when they got that Baron. They have yet to rotate that vision down to the Drake, so potentially an opening, although all of Monkeys Rising is on the top side as well.
Yeah, I think they're looking for a play here. This could be too dangerous. They realize it's an overreach. It seems like they're a little indecisive here whether or not to commit for this. Now Hyperion have the mid push with the Baron buff. If they're able to catch the carries here, I think they should pull trigger here, but it looks like Lo-Fi Footage is looking for it. Zuko's Honor opts to not use the Paranoia. It would have been so devastating. That is a missed opportunity from Hyperion, Colonel. That could have been the game because Monkeys Rising had misstepped.
And a potential misstep of their own from Hyperion. They had their tanks and carries split up. The pillar just barely missed out, but it could have been deadly had it landed. Now, a minute left until the Drake, and Monkeys Rising is having so much trouble finding any footing in their own jungle, let alone in the river, trying to get this mid priority to try and slowly push in the vision. But that is the TP going to be burned to try and secure this Drake. 45 seconds left on the clock.
It absolutely is, but Corky's going to be able to reset and get the package, and I have to criticize Hyperion here, Colonel. They did nothing with their Baron buff. They just used it to get position on the Drake, but they've got in position on the Drake throughout this series, throughout this game. They're allowed to get position every single time, so without getting much more off of this Baron, it seems that Chinese Spy should be picking up the package.
Yes.
Maybe he's waiting for the Drake timer to be a little closer as we watch Quirky do his little dancey dance. He should just pick it up now. Maybe he's saving it for the last possible moment. He channels for it now. flying over to Drake, but really good position from Hyperion. But if I know Monkey's Rising at all, we're going to look for that runway fight through that bottom lane. We're going to look to set up in the river, so this pick is going to be nothing because a Monkey's Rising is a bot side team fight team. So they push out that bot wave, and now they're in position. They have position on the Drake. Colonel, this is all onto this. I wonder who's going to pull the trigger first.
Monkey's Rising doing really good to avoid potentially getting spotted out on that bush. That would have meant certain doom, especially on this Drake. The pillar is going to land. That's Paranoia being pulled. Package going to go in. Valkyrie, because he's never going to be able to use it. He's going to get killed. Beast's going to be used to try and get knockup. That's a big knockup from Cho'Gath. He's going to find one, and now this Fear Beyond Death will find another Attila. He's barely going to get out. He will, but the rest of his team will fall. And Monkey's Rising with a stellar team fight will find themselves Ocean Soul.
And Colonel, I don't know, I was gonna say it again. Wow, another team fight around Dragon with the Corki package. Again, this does so much. All they have to do is throw all of their abilities onto Dracana and he just dies. It doesn't matter that this Corki is not doing much. The R comes down from the Trundle. The Corki package comes out. Auto Rocket. It doesn't matter that Corki explodes. They have to burn so much again for the Corki. They're using the Paranoia. They're using the Killer Instinct. Again, you can't burn 3 ultimates onto this Corki when he's going to trade 1 anyway, because the rest of your team just dies. And that's what happens again and again and again. It seems like these team fights are deja vu for both teams, but I hope it's not deja vu one more time, as Monkey's Rising have the tools there in the driver's seat. But it seems that every time I say this, Colonel, we're going to find another big pick play from Hyperion. And again, it's on Monkey's Rising to get it right. This time you have every single tool in the world to close out this game, but can they do it? It really is the question.
The biggest difference from the last time that they found themselves in an advantage and this time is that Ocean Soul is such a combat advantage. It really does have such a massive impact when these fights are extended. And now slowly pushing in, the Baron is a minute away from spawning, but looks like Monkey's Rising going to be playing this slow. They're well aware that they have the scaling composition. They don't need to force their advantage too quickly. And they have 4 minutes until that Elder spawns, so they are content pushing for mid priority and then slowly getting vision.
And this is Baron 3, Baron 4 that we're setting up for here. I can't fully remember, but again, I mean, so back and forth. We won't see a Corki package here for this one, so it is going to be a bit of a different story because of so much of why these
that's
fights
the
have been
pillar
going well.
coming down onto Dracana, but he might have been off more than he can chew for Jungkook, and he's slain. Attila is godlike, and that was just way too overzealous. Now the knockup's coming down. Base in the second, he's going to be burning, but he's looking for more. He's trying to find the Fear Beyond Death. He was not able to find it. Dawning Shadow over the top cannot even save him. Now the opposing Dawning Shadow, or Fear Beyond Death, does not land, and now they're trying to peel themselves back. The CC is there. Attila getting dealt a lot of damage, but so far 2 clean picks for the side of Hyperion. Now looking for more. They're going to be going in. The CC has landed, and Baki is going to find himself the kill. That is a great pick by Zell, but he will give over his life. Legendary now is Attila, and that is 3 for 1. Hyperion, right when we said it couldn't happen, continue to push the tempo, continue to flip the script, now breaking open this inhibitor.
They are, but I won't go for the end of the game. They know Trundle is coming back up very soon, but again, Little Monkey's biting off more than they can chew. It feels like every time the Corki package isn't in the game, they don't know how to navigate these team fights. And it's been so devastating to see them throw again and again and again. Every time you feel like they get an advantage, they just give it all away, and that's another Baron going over to Hyperion. But it looks like there's a TP coming in, Colonel. There could be a contest here.
Suga's Honor being dealt a lot of damage. Paranoia pulled just to disengage. And now, with control of the top river, could have potentially seen them looking, but a good TP from Base in the second to dissuade this Baron. And now Hyperion are only able to get the inhibitor off of that one team fight.
Absolutely, Colonel, and this is the time that Monkey's Rising needs. We've seen time and time again that they aren't able to fight without that Corki package, and unless that changes this game, they really are hoping for this 2 minutes to go by pretty uninteractive, because if they can get to the Elder with this package and win another team fight that they've been doing all game, this could be the window that they need to win. And could we have our producer quickly check on the souls from Senna this game? I would love to know if you could left click on her character model really quickly. And that's 131 souls from Senna. Her range is so long, so close to that 140 mark, which is another range extended. And a full build Senna, and with 130 souls is a lot of damage, Colonel.
Yeah, and you could see it now. Actually, hold that thought, as Monkeys Rising could potentially be looking, but it doesn't look like they're able to go. Actually, Bates in second, flashing forward, trying to find this Silas. It's just a bit overzealous, and now Paranoia going to be pulled. Forgot. We'll see if he's pulled trigger on. But doing a good amount of damage to Silas so far. Just continuing to go through, but on the other side, Baron, they did show all on the bot side, and that left the top vulnerable, and able to burst down the Baron is Hyperion Origin. And now with a minute left until Elder spawns, they will have this Baron buff on.
They will, but Colonel, again, what they did with the last couple Barons that they've gotten is they haven't been able to find anything off of them. So if Monkeys are able to just push out these waves still, which Io stepping a little too far forward in his jungle, he shouldn't be basing here. He's in so much danger. He knows he's on a ward.
He's on a ward. He's going to get headbutt pulverized. That's a killer instinct, and straight down, shut down. Attila will find himself a kill. What a horrible time for the misplay. And now that's a stun going into the mid lane. Urgot might have overstepped himself as well. Dracana will find himself the kill. Monkeys Rising got so well up until this point, but 40 minutes in, they stumble. And this could potentially mean the game. Quirky has a package, but he's going to need some complete heroics to get out. He's going to barely keep himself alive. He is unstoppable. He could have used that earlier. But now TP looking in, they're trying to find themselves the base. They're trying to find themselves the game. Jungkook is here. He's trying to clear the waves. Trundle Subjugate being taken from Silas. Baki is going to take a lot of damage. The passive is ticking from Brand. One tower is down. They have a limited wave, but that's a flash forward. That's the damage coming in onto Baki. Can they find the kill? Chinese Spy trying to cut away, but the fight is so strong. And it could be just too little too late. The second tower is going to fall. Paranoia, it has the damage all the way inside the tower. Quirky will fall. Game 2 goes to Hyperion. The series will go to Hyperion. And off the back of Dracana, they will find themselves atop the scoreboard, 3-0.
And Colonel, that's not what you want to see out of Monkeys Rising, as they get time and time again these fights around Drake. They get the soul, but it's just whenever the Quirky package is in, down, that brand damage is disgusting, Colonel. 60k, an absolute carry from Dracana. Again, getting caught out a little in these Drake fights, but when you burn so much for him, what else can you expect? And fantastic play from Hyperion to be able to close out this series. Even though their comp was getting outscaled, it didn't seem to matter. Again, Colonel, if you are Monkeys Rising, you have to go back to the drawing board with this positioning, because it feels like whenever the package wasn't up, they got caught out time and time again. But with that said, Hyperion doing such a great job to catch out these carries when they aren't in their strongest points. And again, Hyperion showing why they're one of the best teams. They find all of these amazing angles and close out this series 2-0 super clean.
What a great job by Hyperion Origin. They're on top of the scoreboard for a reason, and showing exactly why. That was one of the closest games that they've had to date. And even as the time ticks down, they were absolutely clean. They tried to keep their decision as close as possible. And that's a great win for Hyperion as they look towards the rest of the season. A lot to learn from, a lot where they could have been cleaner. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. Congratulations to Hyperion Origin for getting that win. And any last thoughts before we head out on the stream?
I mean, Colonel, that was such an exciting game too. Game 1 was a bit of a stomp, but they definitely brought it back, and I thought that it was fantastic from both teams. That was such an exciting game to cast, and I'm excited to see where both of these teams go throughout the season. Colonel, it's great being on the desk with you as always.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for next week as we continue to give you coverage of EGL. Drop a follow if you had fun in the stream. I've been Colonel. Beside me was Paka. Thank you guys so much again.
I wanna see the light. See the light. I wanna see the light. I the sea.